Fast coding music. Woo! Let's see. Are we ready? Getting started. I see Lucas. I see Gunako. Hello. Here I am with my game dev juice. Hello, Marvin Pyro. I got a chocolate turtle and a chocolate frog. Yes. So the fuel is all ready for some game dev. Let's just I don't know if I should yeah, lately I have been working on let me see if I can turn this down a bit. Okay, the music might be a little too loud. Something like that. Okay. I've lately been working on was that a frog? Yes. I don't want to touch too much because it's melting, but this is a frog. Danish brand. I can't. Hello. Let's go with some B-roll. Just so I can eat in peace. But this is actually while I eat this, I can maybe show some footage from our last Wait, what is it here? We can take a look at some of this instead while I'm eating my chocolate. This is some footage from our last multiplayer testing in this close beta that we currently have. So yeah, and I'm of course working on many things, but lately I've been working on making a dedicated server, which might seem a little weird, but the thing is, I'm working on changing how a game gets its settings, you could say. Because right now in the game, as you guys have, it's a single player, you have the setup, you have the settings where you can, for instance, pick if you want to have auto despawn of fireworks, if you want to have explosion effects, if you want to have ignition forces and stuff. Like, you have these three settings basically in the game right now. But with multiplayer already, as we saw in the last alpha we had with a lot of people, it was very quickly seen that we need a kick feature, a ban feature. We need to be able to set how much a player can spawn, how many things can be spawned on the server, and a lot of different settings, and the list will just grow. So therefore I'm changing how a game is started. Already it's a lot different in multiplayer technically, but I'm also let's do this. But I'm also changing how to start a server, how the settings are set. So like, instead of having these settings being, the player's settings, some of them are of course client side, like the volume and stuff like that, graphics and all that, but the game itself needs to have settings, which both needs to be able to be set on a dedicated server and for you as a player when you're hosting a game. So therefore these two needs to work off the same, be the same. I basically need to create the same object that I can pass into a method, and then it would start up the server with these settings, and then these settings are the ones that the game will use, and not some global settings for the player. I don't know if this makes sense at all for anybody other than the developer, but just know that this is gonna be brilliant and work really nice. That's the plan, at least. So yeah, we'll just let this go for a while here. Ladybug chocolate. Maybe you are calling it that. We have it as frogs here. Yeah, you need new bean one. Yeah, that's why this was where we discovered that these cakes not working. You could see this this pink thing. That was when we discovered that one of the in-game cakes wasn't working anymore. So Kel'Thuzad tracked down which the two it was, and then I fixed it afterwards. So that should be fixed now in the latest multiplayer version that only a few of you have access to for now. But yeah, as Amnesty said, I need new B-roll. Yeah, I just haven't had time. I haven't had time to make videos. I don't have time to make B-roll. I'm just spending all of the time I have for my spare time on making the multiplayer version better and better and better. So I'll do all the other stuff when I have time. So, and that's why I'm doing live streams now, because, you know, then I have a chance of showing that I'm still alive and I'm still actually working, because the reason I'm not so much active on YouTube is actually because I'm busy with the game. So, yeah. Yeah, but I'm not gonna answer all these things, Lucas, yet, because we'll take that in the private one. It of course will be public at some point, but right now it's just it's gonna change most likely. So so Gamer Raymond saying I got my own servers at home. That's why. Yeah, so you will be able to host the dedicated once it's ready. So Fearless Studio saying, so do you mean eventually we can host a dedicated server that is online 24/7? Yes, that is the plan. I'm playing around with what I can do as official servers, but I don't really think that would be a thing. I think the community will create the best servers anyway. Because I'm only me, so I can't really, you know, keep up with that too. But I can provide the tools so you can set it up and do all the stuff. And once we get the final mod tools ready for multiplayer stuff, well, then the sky is the limit, really. FVSim version 3.5 with all new graphics will be released this November. Okay, I haven't tried it. Need to put in mods and so. Yeah, but you will see when you get access to the multiplayer at some point, you will see that this mod thing works pretty good actually. But yes. Both the host, as you know, if you are just in the game and making a host where you play and are host at once, you decide what mods is there, and also on a dedicated server, you also provide a list of mods, IDs from mod.io that you want to be on the server, and then the server loads that and tells all clients to download and install them before joining. So it's pretty simple. It at least comes across pretty simple for players. But it took a while to make it. But it works pretty good already, so that's pretty good. But that's another thing. Right now, and that's also a thing I want to change. Right now, in the multiplayer, again, I'm talking about something that a lot of you haven't really tried. the game you host use the mods that you have enabled on your machine. But really the mods is also a part of the game's settings, you know, like so when you create a host, you should really be able to say, okay, I have these mods installed, which one of them do I want to enable on the host, you know, the game I'm about to create. So that's the plan, because right now it's not, for the ones of us who have been for a while, it makes sense that you go into the workshop and enable different mods, and then you start a host, and then these mods are enabled. But really, UI-wise, it makes more sense to have a list of mods that you have installed, and then you can enable the ones you want. Or at least there should be a view of these enabled, disabled mods as part of the creation. So mods and multiplayer in general works pretty good. But there is a major issue now, and well, all the fireworks, the standard fireworks, all the stuff Amnesty is doing works really well. It was pretty easy to make even older mods work in multiplayer. But all mods that are more advanced, like Konako and other people are doing with scripting, like the shell system, is not just working out of the box in multiplayer, because it's a whole different thing. And right now, it's not possible for mods to make it work due to an issue with NGO that I'm working to make the multiplayer. But I am in a dialogue with some people at Unity and UMod and stuff like that to try and find a solution to that. And it sounds like there is a solution to that. So crossing fingers, because when that works, it's gonna be great. So how's multiplayer going? It's going pretty well. You can't join yet, but the video that's running here is from our last test. And here you can see us jumping around doing stuff. But let's get back to some actual game dev. Because what I have been working on, let me just see, I need to check in something. I need to check in. Yes. Let's just test it. Let's just test this for a while. So one of the things I have made lately is that, and this is something that you as a player couldn't care less about, but the problem is, because I'm now opening up to having dedicated server, Linux servers and Windows servers, and the game for Windows, and potentially in the future more builds of the game. The default way of doing it in Unity, where you go in and switch and you need to do a lot of manual stuff. This has been okay so far because I only had one platform, which was Windows. But now I'm changing it a lot, so therefore I have created a tool inside Unity so I can actually decide which one I want to build, and then it will build that. So like I can do like this, and then it will start down here, and it should hopefully build all three versions. It's gonna take a few minutes. I should really just have built the dedicated server, because that's what I wanted to test something in, because I just added something to the dedicated server so you can actually write in the normal FM host commands, and that's what I wanted to test now. So again, it's very technically, but for people who are gonna host a server, this is pretty nice that you can go in and change the weather, or change the time or something like that, kick a player or whatever. But let's see. And again, the reason dedicated server comes up is, first of all, because dedicated server will be a thing, because it will and does perform a lot better than hosting and gaming at the same time. So if you want to have people with more players, we need dedicated servers. And it's also something that people will have requested. So, and because it goes hand in hand with this host config, or whatever we call it, that host config that starts a game should be the same for a dedicated server and for a host that you create in the game. But again, it's some technical insight stuff. So now I'm just building all three just to show how it works, and then afterwards I'm only gonna build one of them at a time. You can see. And the smart thing here is that before I needed to build one, go to another one, change it, build another one. Now I can just click checkboxes, click a button, and then it built everything. And as you will see in a moment, it puts it nicely in a build folder with the version numbers, so I know what version it is. And yeah, just gonna make things a lot easier for me. Guanaco, but it sounds like you're not the only one gonna host a dedicated server. But I don't know. Was it Fearless Studios? Will I be able to create mods with Lua? No, that's not possible. The whole mod thing, which will also be updated, it still works, the guide that is there. If you Google fireworks MANIA mod tools, I think, you will find the GitHub page. It's still relevant, but the new version is actually a bit easier, but it's not out yet because I'm still working on it. So, and mods is natively supported, so there's no injection of anything. So yeah, just follow that guide and it will help you. You build mods inside Unity and build the mod in Unity and put it in a folder, and then it loads up in the game. So here we go, developer pawn, automatic builds. So, and let's see the output. Maybe it should actually open that by itself, but anyway, I can find it here. So it ended up showing up as this. So I have a Linux build, I have a Windows build. I don't know why it's putting in this. Do you know that, Rob? It's something that it started with like half a year ago. It puts in these burst default information and does it both in the standalone and in dedicated. It's so weird. I'm always deleting these, and I can't figure out how to get away other than, you know, just deleting the folder manually, which I can do now that I'm actually building it via code. But anyway, so now building, you can see I have the version here, so I have all of them here. And what I want to test is the dedicated server, because I want to test this input thing I just added. So I'm starting up server. There's a lot of errors in here. Let's see, let's do like this, and then let's do like this. Whoops, that's not what I want to do. So like this, boom. There's some shader things, and it shows some errors in the beginning due to some shaders missing, not being part of the dedicated build, yada yada yada. But the point is that it stops doing it because before it also did it before I disabled some envirus guy. Anyway, it stays like this now. So let's see, why is it not? Okay, here it is. Why is it? Okay, I can't do like. Now I started game. Come on, man. Okay, talk about being confused. Boom. Okay, stay here. Please stay. Yes. Can I type? What? Okay, that's because it's not loaded. There is a timing issue too, sometimes. Let's see. What? It's not really starting the server, and why isn't it doing that? This was not what should happen. No, I can't join the server because I'm on another version here, which also shows up now red, as you can see, Konako. You can actually decide that, Rob, with a standard Unity command line log file, I think, and then you put the path to the log file. For instance, when using, I played around with multiplayer, Unity's own hosting thing, and they defaulted to something like their log folder, which is a kind of a parameter, and then engine.log, and then it shows the log there. Why is it not there? There is an issue. It's not starting the server. I think it might be related to. Let me try. No, let me just try something here. So it's set to platform this. Not fine. Let me see the code here. I think I might have a timing issue where it tries to do some Steam initialization, which it shouldn't do. But I have this flag. Let's try again. Or is let me try something here. You might get confused. Okay, let me note this down here. Not as good a demo as I wanted. It should say something more about starting the game, blah 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 blah. Let's see. Game version, blah 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 blah. So it's like it's not even. That's weird. It should just load that dedicated server manager, which is this one attached to. Should start blah. It should say starting dedicated server. Why doesn't it do that? Is there maybe a problem in my build thing? Nope, because okay, let me try something else. I just did this thing yesterday, so there could potentially be a problem. Maybe because the dedicated server build is actually really weird, because it's a standalone build with a sub-target of server. I don't know if you played around with that, Rob, but it's really weird. So when you set back, so when you set the build target, you should set it to standalone and then sub-target server for Windows build, and it's super weird. Anyway, let's see what happens here. We can switch to some more chill. I was more in the mood for some upbeat because I was thinking that this was just fly, you know, things would just work. But I think I might have jinxed it. Going back to lo-fi, down in tempo. Let's make it work. But while it loads, I can tell what I have in mind. So right now, the dedicated servers. Okay, maybe let's keep focus on one thing at a time. Let's try again here. Okay, let me try something. I have to try and, okay, now it's changed to dedicated server and then target windows. Boom, perfect. So let's try and start this up. This is not at all what I should be working on. But this should now, okay, there is something wrong. What? It's because it's starting the game? Dedicated server, yes please. What? Okay, so we have the splash screen. The splash screen has the splash screen manager. Let's open up the splash screen manager. It's right here. Dedicated server. Okay, so here, dedicated server, it should load up this thing and not start the main menu. So what? I mean, I have a question out of interest. Do you have to spend money on the development, technology behind it, and processes and systems? I pay a license to Unity, and then I pay, of course, for sounds, music, assets, other systems in the asset store. But I'm not paying a developer because that's myself. So I'm putting a lot of time into it. What? Okay, this is not at all how it should go. Getting hot now. Okay. By the way, Rob Lang, just as a side note, why don't Unity have something like this, built in? They have different platforms. Why don't they have just a checklist so you can build multiple at a time? I know they have scripting ways to do that. That's what I'm trying to do here. But it's not... Yeah, I don't know. But right now, that doesn't seem to be the problem. Okay, so it's dedicated server. It's set to Windows. Perfect. Everything is correct. It should start the splash screen. Okay, let's try do it like this. It just worked. I was just working yesterday evening on having, because by default, Unity dedicated server don't listen to input, so you can't input anything. But I made something yesterday that hooks up to the built-in console in the game, so you can actually use the normal FM- commands I already have in the game. So that's pretty nice. Okay. Okay, it's like it doesn't at all care what I'm doing. Attach to Unity, please. Start up. Okay. So it just goes into this one. So it's like it's not actually, it's like it doesn't have this. Don't we agree? Dedicated server. It is right there. What? It's like it's not using these compilation flags. Okay. Okay. Let's try and restart here. Let me just okay. It's like it doesn't care at all what I'm doing. Are you gonna release online before New Year? Let me say I'm not gonna publicly release, an official version. But let's see if there isn't a beta in the works. And yeah, maybe in a little other way. But no, it's not gonna be publicly released before New Year's. I expect at least to be a year before it's fully ready. But don't be too scared away, because you might be able to play it anyway before, if you want. But anyway, more about that in an upcoming announcement when I figure out exactly when and how. See, now we're talking. Okay. I think Unity had some issue with itself right there. Because you can see now when we agreed that before, when I click play here, it went into the main menu, right? That's because it wasn't sure of itself that it should actually build with the dedicated server compilation flags or whatever it's called. See, now it goes in as a server and just starts up a game. Yes, flat map, boom. And of course we can't see anything here because the camera is disabled. So, okay. So, let's try again. Let's go to the build tools and let's build a dedicated server here. Boom. Shouldn't take long. But it could be because Unity gets confused, because as part of this build tool, I have to change what target platform I want to use, because the way Unity works is that you need to change platform, then build whatever you have, and then change it to the next one and build it, and then change it back to what it was actually. So it, for me as a user of Unity, goes back to what I was at. And with these sub targets, which is server built, it's weird. This is not at all going as planned, and it's a much more technical stream than I was planning, but that's how it is. It's always super technical and usually pretty boring, except if you are a nerd. Yes, as Keltosar said, a release would be like if it was out, so when you got the game and installed it, then you would have multiplayer. And that's not gonna happen this year. Because it's simply not ready. It's totally playable, but there's way too much stuff that is still missing. Then we have to switch back here, and then we have to go to the servers, and we have here, and then let's try and start a server again. Yes, now it looks more correct. Perfect. You see here. So it says joining login code, blah blah blah, doing some stuff, disable camera, that's some Unity stuff, and then disable server running and ready version, blah 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 blah. So this means it's ready, and now I can actually type in stuff here. The problem is there's no intelligence like the console in the game, so I have to remember. But I think it's called list players. I can't remember. But you can do something like this. You can say commands, and then we can say max players. Copy that, and then I can even say man for manual, and then get a manual to that one. You can see it takes in an integer. I can also put it in here and then get back that it's only available on the host, and I'm not the host. That's because I need to change. So it's an is server, and not is host, but we can fix that. Apparently that one doesn't. Okay, let me try something. Okay, but anyway, let's main menu, and let's say go in here. I need to check something. I think it's because many of the commands I have a check for if it's the host that is calling that, so because clients can't do it. But I think I need to change that to is server instead. Let's see this weather one. Okay, so there is no check on getting it, and this one is actually using server and not is host, but is server. That's why it's working. Okay. Okay, so let's try something. So we have the server running here to the right, and we can also commands. There is one called something like log player spawn. So if I do like that to true, then I should be able to see what people are spawning, but that can be pretty spammy in the logs. And now I have this other input issue. Jesus Christ. It just keeps giving today. Come on. Oops. Okay. So we have my server. That's just the default because I haven't put any parameters in. I could have set the name, blah, 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 blah. So join here. And now it should join the server over here. We should see over to the right here in a moment. We should see player MANIA logging in or something like that. What? Same errors you had, Guanaco? Okay. This is not. Do you see why it's not ready yet, right? But this is what? Okay, let's try and start it up right away. I'm pretty sure it usually don't lose the relay as fast. Yeah, so ready, boom, join. The reason right now the server is using the same relay services as when you're hosting in-game. Yeah, and these relays needs to be kept alive, blah blah blah. Okay, anyway, so now I'm in a game here. I'm in the game. You can see on the right, you can see player. Oh, okay, unknown username. That's because it didn't got to log into Steam before I joined. Another issue. But anyway, so I joined the server and I'm actually in here on the server and I can spawn stuff. Yes, I can. So the new thing I actually want to show was that I can go over here now, and then I can say, hopefully, FM host weather, and then cloudy, for instance. No, let's, okay. We should see, no, that was maybe cloudy. Let's see. FM host weather clear. Okay. What? Okay. Nothing is working. What the? Cloudy. It should change. I just tested it yesterday. What the? As Konako would say, there is something cursed here. Was it dark cloudy? Okay, here we could see a change. And there is also, so you can see it's been darker now because it's actually changed. I guess it's because I'm putting in the wrong ones. Where, so no, there is the set time of day. So set time of day to 1 o'clock. Okay, I give up. What? So 12th. Ah, okay, it's 1 o'clock in the night. Sorry, it should be 13. Yeah, okay, that's a day. So you can see here I can change the time to 18 o'clock, 6 o'clock, and I can weather, let's say cloudy. Now rain, I think it's called rain. Yeah, it is raining. You can see here. So it actually says rain on the client. It's just very hard to see, I guess. Okay, this is really a bad test. Snow. Oh, there it is. The snow is falling. Okay, it's just very, very hard to see. I don't know if you can see it at all. You can see it there? So it is actually working. It is working. The rain has just always been hard to see. There is some sound, but I don't think if we stop this and then go over here. But not all sounds are playing in Unity because I'm not loading them to save. But let's see if the rain is here. And then I'm disconnected. And I think it disconnects because the host is not keeping that relay alive. So if I try to, I can join that one. Okay. That's weird. It's not even showing any errors over here. And the server is still running. It's just not the no, it's not even running. Okay, I'm a little puzzled now. Anyway, as you can see, this is clearly not working super well. But I have changed something with the input because I want to listen to these inputs from from the console on a server. And it's like after that, it messed up something. Maybe the server is locking up while I'm... while I'm typing? But Gunako, you have been... your server is running now for some time. Have you tried being out for like 10 minutes and then join it and it still works, right? Pirate Jonas, why is your frame rate limited to 60? Just put it on 400. It's because I wanna give my machine power to do other stuff, because I'm streaming, I'm running Unity, I'm doing all sorts of stuff. So I'm just keeping it at 60. Yeah, plus Amnesty, as Amnesty is saying, then it's consistent 60 most of the time and not fluctuating between 60 and 400 or whatever. But this is kind of annoying. Anyway, yeah, Fearless Studios say, I honestly love devs take the time with releases instead of rushing something unfinished out. Yeah, exactly. And that's why I'm not pushing it out to everybody this year. Because I want it to feel easy to use and things works. And as you can see, it's clearly not working. But this could be many different things. It can both be the relays, it can also be the server that have an issue. So let's maybe just park this one for now, because this is not actually what I wanted to look into today. Because what I wanted to show you, and this goes out to some server people maybe. So, okay, let me explain here. Assuming that the dedicated server works. As I said in the beginning, both when you are... Okay, maybe I should show that just so you are aware of how that works. Because not all here have access to this version. So, how it works and how it will work. Let me just remove the chat for a second. So, the way it works is that you go into multiplayer and then you get a list of servers. We might have filters, we might have other stuff in here eventually, but the idea is that you get a list of servers that you can join. These servers can either be dedicated servers, as we were talking about before, like Guanacos or Fearless Studio, wasn't that the name? Fearless Studios, or some other people hosting their own dedicated server that they control. And it will show up on this list here. But it can also be people just playing a public game. You can also play private games that will, of course, not show up here, where you need to have a join code to join. But let's keep that out for now. But what most people will do is that they will go in here, want to play with their friends. So one of them with the best internet and best computer goes down here and click create host. And then right now you can see this screen is pretty simple because it's just one map and whatever map is here, and then a server name and a description. But this UI here, that's what I am working on, but I'm starting from the data and not from the UI. Because eventually what you need to pick here is what mods should be included. Should we have auto despawn? Should we have ignition force enabled, and should we have explosion force enabled? How many items can each player spawn? What is the total amount of spawnable objects in this game? And a lot of other settings that that you will need to be able to set, or they will of course default to some default values, but as a host you will be able to change them for that specific game that you're about to create. Obviously I will make it, I guess, so that it remembers what you picked last time. So when you create if you play with the same friends, you start the game again the next day or a week after, it remember that you called it this and this was the description, and then you can just do the tweakings that you want, and then you create a host, and then it saves that again. And that save, it's my idea that save should be a config file, which, and here comes the full circle, that config file will be the same config file as a dedicated server will be able to read. So that you can basically, if you have something that you use to host as a normal host, you can basically take that config file and put it on a dedicated server, and then have the same game run with the same settings at least, and the same mods and all that run as a dedicated server. Again, it's a more advanced. The thing is that for most people, it's just a matter of clicking a server, join, or host a server, and your friends join via code or via the list. So that's the basic setup. But for more advanced users that want to have more people in, they can host it as dedicated. So, yeah. So the point is that's what I'm trying to get at. That all these settings for a game should go down to some config file that I think can be reused for both host and dedicated server. There are some stuff that is a little different, but the game settings should be the same. So I was actually starting doing it in code, but then I got even a step further back and was thinking, okay, if I should have this, let's call it host.config, which would be a JSON file. If I would have that, how should that look? And this is where I might need your input. Let me bump this up so we can see it here. We don't need that. Okay. So the first, so it would be, I'm guessing it would be something like this. We could, down here, we could also have name. I don't know if it should be small. So we have my server, blah, and we could have a description. This is my best server. And then you have auto spawn, explosion forces, blah, 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 blah. Can I host a server on a server PC? Well, that's another thing. Amnesty actually asked that the other day too. And we haven't been able to test that yet, but ideally, or maybe actually, maybe it makes sense to host a dedicated server on your machine and then joining it from your machine in the game. We tested that yesterday where I was hosting a dedicated server and then others were joining and we tried to crash it. But if it performs better than just hosting inside the game, I don't know yet. We will have to figure out. But anyway, so the idea is this. And again, I'm always a fan of keeping things simple. So imagine you have a dedicated server, you download that zip file, and then you place this host config file, and you open it, and then you can just, put in the mod IDs that you want. Then we get to an issue with maps because there's a problem, but I think it's too technical to take here. And then there's the host part, and I'm not sure about these namings. I'm not sure how. Yeah, let me talk about the issue with the host, because I need some data structure here where I can represent basically two types of host. Dedicated, which is basically this, where you have to specify the actual IP and the port. This is the advanced version, because to be able to host a dedicated with this, you need to set up port forwarding to your machine on an internal IP, and then the public IP would be something like whatever, blah, 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 something like this. And this is needed in here because it needs to be sent up to a lobby system so others know what to join, yada, yada, yada. The problem is, or the challenge is, that this is only one way of hosting, because you could also host via relay where you don't have to specify anything, I guess. So, and now I'm just thinking out loud, is the alternative, I guess I'm not talking to players now, because players don't have to worry about this at all. I'm all talking about more dev techie people. Because is it maybe so, and I can't remember why I didn't. What if this host is just not present? Should it just fall back on the relay? Or maybe it, no. I actually guess a dedicated server have to, as we just saw and as Gonako also discovered before, the relay times out for a server because it's not keeping the relay alive, the relay session or whatever alive. Let's relay allocation. So I think maybe I have to, and eventually that will also make the dedicated server a much better experience, but will make it a little harder to set up. But I guess that's fair. So maybe I should just force dedicated servers to specify IP and port. Yeah, but the problem, I was thinking about the time, I just called it direct and relay, but then that type specify what other properties set here, and that's just weird. No, you haven't opened any ports. No, you don't have to, Lucas. You don't have to open any ports to play. Again, we are talking about very technical stuff for people who want to host a dedicated server and not use the relay, because the relay adds latency. So for a dedicated server, we actually want to the relay is not supposed to be used with a server. The relay is supposed to be used with normal players, so exactly that they can join and host games without having to do port forwarding. And that works because I'm using relay. That's why you can just say host and other can join you. That's because you are going through that relay thing. Whereas a dedicated server is hosted here, and it's hosted here, and you just want people to connect directly to that and not via relay. First of all, the relay cost me money when you are using it, so that's one reason for not using it for a dedicated server. The other reason is that you don't need to, because setting up a dedicated server is more advanced people, and they have to figure out how to do port forwarding. The dedicated user relay right now, because I'm just running with the same code as I have for the host, but it shouldn't in the future. So I actually think, now that I think about it, this host part, when you're hosting inside the game, this host part is just not set. And then the dedicated server just starts up, check for this host part, and if it's not set, it throws an exception saying, oh, you missed IP and port. Yeah. And again, this might confuse a few people because this sounds very troublesome and hard to do. But remember, this is for advanced players who want to set up a dedicated server. As a player, you just click host, you play, your friends join, no problem. It's only the dedicated server that is kind of an issue now, but it is related due to the fact that it's using the same game mechanism behind it, which I want to change to work based on settings like this. So it's actually game settings and not settings on your version of the game. Yeah, Gamer Raymond. Yeah, exactly. And I think actually now the more I think about it, and as you can also see before, the relay dies out, which it haven't done this fast before. So there is something wrong with the latest version of the dedicated server. Might be this input thing I've done. But anyway, I agree, Raymond. Setting up a dedicated server in all other games also requires you to forward port. So it's just how it is. So I think actually this is just fine, just having this. The problem is I need to use the same for, but yeah, okay. So it's not in this, it's a A dedicated server executable made in C++ doesn't help anything. It doesn't solve any of these problems. Yeah, Konako got a build of the dedicated server right now, yeah. But, okay, I can see this because if I go further down this path, it becomes way too complicated. And I need to just talk to myself, I think, to figure out how it works. So, yeah, let's agree that this thing that I can build a different version very fast, unless Unity mess up, is a good thing and a positive thing, and it works great. But let's try and just join Konako's server if it's still up. Before ending the stream, just so we have some kind of fun. But the funny thing is that this version of the game that I'm joining now is actually have a bug in it too, because it's missing the splash screen and there's some other issues. So right now it's actually a lot more buggy than it have been before. I don't know if it's still running. Okay, now Berto's server is running. So just to test it out, so you can see Berto have a server here. I can just click join, and assuming he haven't left the server, it should just get in here. Yep. Question is, where is he? Okay, I don't know. Oh, there he is. What? Oh, that's Kel'Thuzar. But let's try and join Konako's server instead and see if we can push it to the limits. He just set up a host on a Linux server just for... You're not on it? Well, look, I shouldn't be able to run around like that if you're not even in the game anymore. Raymond, don't expect to... I think, yeah, we have to relay issue again. Yeah, Konako, you have to restart again. Yeah. You have to start again. It's the relay. But as I said, it's because the weird thing is that I'm pretty sure it didn't rain out that fast before. I don't know if I messed something up. But anyway, it doesn't really matter because the relay shouldn't be used in here. And it also clearly says so in the documentation. That when you are hosting it as a server, it doesn't automatically keep the relay alive. It does when you are hosting as a host, as you know, playing host. It automatically keeps the relay alive, but the server version doesn't, because it shouldn't. So let's see. Okay, so here we are. Okay, So we have Gonago and most likely Keltosan at the moment, and Berto. But anyway, to answer your question, Raymond, don't expect to be able to run a server with 150 people. Maybe if none of them are doing anything other than walk around, but it's not. It would be nice, but I don't think that's the. Expect to maybe be able to run 5-10 people or something like that. A dedicated server maybe more, but the problem is that if everybody is firing off fireworks, you have a frames per second problem instead. But let's try and push this guy. Is this the one that still have the problem with, or have I fixed that? No, okay, that's fixed in this version. Okay. So let's see here. Do you have any mod? Okay, there's no mods on this one. Okay. But this is what is pressing the server. That is, you know, when things are flying around and physics force and stuff like that. Should we put in more? Let's put in more. Again, just doing this to show it off. So have some fun in this live stream because it wasn't really that good. Yeah, boring, no mods. So I'm gonna start it now. Let's get some CPU measurements. We can also get. So to the all the way to the right, I don't know if you can see it, but all the way to the right there is something called RTT to server. That's kind of a ping. It's not really, but it's kind of a ping. So we have that's the delay to the server. That's 200 milliseconds now. Yeah, that's fine. We have, you can see he's lagging a bit, but he's still moving. Whoop, and there we go. Exactly, blocking. The player side won't load anything if everybody's just doing like this. So of course there's a limit, but maybe I actually had the idea that you could maybe set up a server so that like 1 or 2 people can spawn stuff and the rest can only see it. So like it could be kind of a, you know, spectator crowd way of joining, something like that. But you can see the server is still running. We still have a guy running here. Keltosan. Yeah, you can't join Brian's game. It's still in closed private beta test, so you can't join yet. I'm just showing off how it works right now. I'll be showing out how. Whoop! Oh, there he goes. There he goes. But it won't be long until you can try it. Yeah, the delay is not that, and remember that this is even going through the relay. So, and that adds, I think it adds a lot to the ping time. So it of course doesn't take away any load from the server, but it adds to the ping, the latency. Oh, who is Keltosan there? And then we have Berto and Konako. Let's try something here. let's take this one. And you can actually be pushed if it explodes near you. You will actually get pushed. Oh. Yeah, all in here are closed beta testers. That's why they can't join. Granako is also closed beta tester. Oh, why didn't, that was weird. Why didn't it set off the other ones? Ah, okay. There was a delay again. Okay. But pretty boring without any mods and just this flat map. Okay. Oh, you had that one going. That's maybe why it was weird. Yeah, I think Kel'Thuzar, I think it was because Berta was doing his mossy thing, which I need to find a way to avoid, but anyway. Well, I saw you. Nano voice chat. There's no voice chat in now, there's only text chat, but I actually do plan to add you know, proximity chat and some other stuff. I would like to do kind of a, so you have like a proximity thing when you go close to people, and then kind of a walkie-talkie thing so you can talk with people across the map. Just because I find it funny to have that. But no, that's not working right now. But as you can see, it kind of works. The problem with the proximity chat is I need to have a kind of a mute thing, and yeah, because you most likely don't want to listen to everybody. I think proximity chat could be pretty fun, I think. But of course, with random weird people, it might be weird. But that's why we need a mute function, clearly. No, Brian, I don't need any more closed beta tester, but in not too far future, you will most likely be able to play it a little. I need to close the window. Shells before proximity chat. Yeah, but that's why I need yet another year to have shells and proximity chat and thousands of other things. But as you can see, it's playable, and this game is actually pretty boring because there's no mods and it's just this flat map, because that's the only thing you can do in dedicated server right now. Yeah. Yeah, and as Kel'Thuzar said, why did the old beta shut down? It was because it was only meant to be up for, was it 10 days or something like that? So that's why. Can you choose to? No, the hotbar items here in the bottom, they are fixed. It's just the same as the tools here, for now at least. But somebody requested this, and let me just, so it looks more like this. But others already suggested or requested that you can hide this. It's fine that you can switch on the numbers, but people don't want more UI. So I assume, okay, now I can point. So okay, I can't point on this screen because then it takes over. But I found a bug. What now? But anyway, I want to do a setting so you can hide some of these UI elements like the tooltips and the bottom bar. What are you saying, Granako? Ah, okay. Yeah. Please find a decent bug. Yeah, the toolbar and the button basically just shows the same as this one. It's just a different way of picking the tools. And when I have the tool away, you just push the same as you have open. Oops. We can do the trampoline. Woohoo! Because there are small particles in these contains things, and you are pushed in the new game and the new version here. You are pushed by physics forces, so that's why we are thrown away like that. What now? Okay, now I see. I can move the camera now. It's too big. Okay, let me know that. Back. Whoa. Okay, the server shut down. Pro 31, no, you can't join right now. It's a closed beta for now, but in the not too far future, if you have the game, of course, you maybe can. But yeah, it's a closed beta right now, but that might change, or you might have access in the future. But there will be an announcement on Steam at some point. Is there going to be a command to freeze time on the server? There is none now, but that could easily be done because you can do that in the... Normally, if you're the host, you can just use the clock thing, and you can put it down in the black area, and then it will just stop time. There is no way of doing that on the server right now, but all these different commands and settings, they will continue to evolve because, as you can see, people keep coming up with things that would like to change, which makes total sense because pausing this time on a server could be a great feature, but right now it's not done. But as you could see before, just having the dedicated server run doesn't even work. Yeah. So I think I will end the live stream, which was actually not at all going as planned. A lot of weird bugs. I would just go in and then it would work and bum, but clearly not. So yeah, so I'll work more on that later tonight, and yeah, that's it. Any more questions before I leave? Oh, we forgot. I need to. Okay, I need to try one more thing before we leave. I have a button here that should push a ad on the stream. Oh, by the way, have any of you have any ads on this stream while I was streaming? I've only consumed one skill pill and one mint frø. Okay, so I assume no ads. I'm just gonna push a button now and see if, and then let me know in the chat if that showed an ad to you. I'm pushing it now. If you have premium, I guess you won't see an ad now, but in a few seconds, let's see if people come back and say if there's been an ad. Yes, it showed me an ad. Okay, cool. So it actually works. Okay. So I know in the future when I'm saying, okay, now I need to show you something really interesting, and then I press it, and then people are like, no! Nah, that might be 2 ads. 1 and 1. Okay. So like this, okay, yeah. Okay. But I guess it only, I think it's a personal thing because if you have premium, it won't show an ad. If you just saw an ad, maybe it doesn't show it to you again. So I think it kind of, yeah, fits to whatever. Yeah, fits the user, whatever. Anyway, I'm gonna shut down the live stream for now and scratch my head off why this dedicated server didn't work. But it could also all be related to this build tool I just made, because I just did that yesterday and just got it working, like it was building and showing up in the folders, but I didn't actually test the build. I was assuming it was working, and it was for the few seconds I tested, but I didn't actually join the server, which would have shown this relay issue. Yeah, okay. Anyway, yeah, I heard actually they have changed something recently so that it's harder to have ad blocker. I'm not using ad blocker and I don't have premium, so I'm just a regular stupid user of YouTube, so I see ads all the time. Yeah, they have started doing something so that it was my brother writing the other day that they done something so you can't even, it disables the player or something like that if you have ad blocker. Yeah, exactly. I need to go and have dinner, so I need to go. But I'll fix this dedicated server later. I'm sure we'll figure it out. Oh, is the laptop, is that running on Wi-Fi, Gunako? Put a cable in that laptop if you're running a server. Thank you, Fearless Studios, and keep an eye on Steam for announcement about multiplayer version. But I would say the dedicated, now you Fearless Studios, you asked about the dedicated server. That is not something that I expect to be available soon. Because that will, yeah, I need to do some little help and documentation on how that works and stuff like that. So that's not gonna happen soon, I think. But playing the multiplayer might. But eventually it will. And the dedicated server, it will be a separate download. So you don't even have to own the game to run a server. You can have multiple servers, and yeah, it's just a tiny subset of the game that can run the server that you can download for free and host wherever you want. But you of course need the game to join. Try it out. Yeah, it doesn't matter if it's brand new Gunako. Wi-Fi. Server and Wi-Fi, not good. It's cursed. Yeah, Phyllis, exactly. Do you know, a lot of stuff is much easier nowadays with all the services Unity provide and stuff like that, but it also means that the expectation is also higher and it gets more advanced, you know. Doing this game like 10 years ago, I might not have it, I most likely wouldn't have been able to add multiplayer and chat and dedicated server and blah, 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 blah. So it just makes it possible to do all these things, yeah. But I have all the time try to keep it, that's also why I'm only supporting Windows right now, to keep it simple, because as you can see, I still have a lot of stuff I want to add, a lot of features, and if I added a lot of more platforms to support, I couldn't do anything other than test these platforms for every little tiny change I did. Where right now I only need to test on Windows, and now I just added the dedicated server, so now I already have two things to test. But yeah, anyway, yeah, I also have 1000 up and down and a cable that I could put in a computer. But on my funny story with the current dedicated server, which could be weird due to it's something I just did last week, or started on last week, I think. So I can for sure optimize it. But on Unity's multiplayer service, which is a 2-core 2.8 gigahertz and 8 gigabytes of RAM, that's their virtual dedicated servers on multiplayer, Unity's multiplayer hosting service. The dedicated server on that one runs at idle on 50% CPU. So just by what you just saw, we joined here on Gunako server, just a flat map. And as you know, the game, nothing really goes on in the game if you're not playing. There is the weather is going, but that's basically it. There's no NPCs, there's no nothing. So just that running on the multiplayer server was like 50% CPU usage just for idling. No players in. On my machine, which is of course fair enough, an i9 3 point something. I don't even know what CPU it is. It's a newer one. New one. The server runs idle at 0.5 CPU or something like that. So yeah, I'm new to the dedicated server, so I don't know what's normal, and yeah. But I'm actually looking forward to try out this direct connection. So dedicated servers are using specific IP joins instead of relay, because that will make the pin much lower. €80 for internet connection. And now there's a new, let's see, I don't know what I have. I can check. Mine is called something like this. I can put it in the chat here. So this is my CPU. So it's a fairly beefy one, I guess, but this one runs the server at 0.5% or something like that CPU at idle. And yesterday we were in 3 or 4 people on it, including I was hosting it on my machine, and I was also playing on my machine on that one. And it was at max 60% for a short while, I think 60 or 80% maybe, very peaking. So yeah. Oh, Sullivan, that's annoying. So right when I start, you have to go to school. Oh, that's sad. But anyway, I'll stop for now and see you in the next stream, and maybe in the future in game, because I will of course join people's games once we get to a point where people can host their own games in the multiplayer version. I will join in and say hi, I guess. Not in all of them, but some of them, just to see how things work. It would actually be fun. Then we can kind of meet in person, not in person, but we could meet, you know, in a game. That's actually pretty nice. But anyway, let's shut this stream down, because I need to have dinner and then move on with these freaking dedicated servers. Okay, but let me find this one here. Yep, ending stream. See you guys in the next stream. Bye.